Corbett 911, you need to ambulance.
Please forgive me, I'm sorry.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
I promise you, whatever you want, I will.
On June 24, 2016, Christy Sheats called for a family meeting of her two daughters, Madison aged 17, Taylor aged 22, and husband of 20 years, Jason aged 45 on his birthday. During the meeting, she loaded a 5-round .38 caliber revolver and opened fire on her daughters, killing them both, while her husband watched in horror. Christy and Jason's story began in their youth, and from the very start, they held a profound certainty that they were destined to be together. It's remarkable that they both grew up in close proximity to each other. Christy hailed from Decatur, Alabama, merely a short 15-minute drive from Trinity, Jason's hometown and high school. Their love story was nothing short of beautiful, serving as a source of inspiration for their adoring daughters, who looked up to them with admiration. Christy's friends held her in high regard, describing her as a loving and devoted mother. The moment you met her, she would openly share her passion for motherhood, as it was her life's calling and mission. After getting married, Christy and Jason shared their lives for more than 2 decades. Shortly following their wedding, Christy experienced the joy of motherhood, bringing their first daughter, Taylor, into the world. 5 years later, they welcomed their second and final child, Madison. As parents, Christy and Jason were deeply devoted and nurturing, fostering a strong sibling bond between their daughters, despite a 5-year age gap. The Sheats family exuded closeness, and friends and relatives of Christy attested that her greatest dream was to be a mother. Christy was active on social media platforms like Facebook, where she lovingly documented their family life. She frequently shared photos and status updates, celebrating her profound love for her daughters. Her husband and her children reciprocated these sentiments. Christy Sheats had expressed her support for the right to carry a semi-automatic handgun on Facebook. In one of her posts, she wrote, "It would be horribly tragic if my ability to protect myself or my family were to be taken away. But that's exactly what Democrats are determined to do by banning semi-automatic handguns." Since January of the previous year, Christy had been employed as a part-time receptionist at a tattoo removal clinic in Houston. The owner of the clinic, in an interview with NBC News, disclosed that she was going through a challenging period in her family life with her husband and children. Taylor Sheats exhibited a deep passion for both nurturing children and her artistic talents, as attested by a close friend and her former employer. Graduating with honors from Lone Star College in Cypress, Texas, at the age of 22, she immediately embarked on a full-time teaching career at Kids Are Kids, a childcare center and pre-K school located in Katy. Cindy Graves, the director of Kids Are Kids, shared her heartfelt sentiments, stating, "She was an exceptional individual, an outstanding educator, and her presence was a constant around children." During her time at the pre-K school, where she dedicated 6 months, Taylor played a pivotal role in the development and care of 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in 2 separate classrooms. Furthermore, she adorned the entire facility with her own artistic creations, a testament to her remarkable talents. Cindy Graves spoke of her artistic prowess, describing her as an amazing artist. She had dreamed of becoming a professional artist. Taylor Sheats' joy was significantly intertwined with her longtime partner in finance, Juan Lugo. Taylor was passionate about her relationship with her mother. She shared her adoration on social media. "You're such a blessing to have as a mother and a friend, and I truly appreciate you and all that you do. You are so selfless, as you always put our whole family ahead of yourself and never ask for anything in return." Madison Sheats also had a genuine affection for being in the company of children. The teenager had been engaged in part-time babysitting for nearly 3 years, known for her ever-present smile, as attested by a family friend. In 2012, A significant shift began to occur in Christy and her family's life following the loss of her beloved grandfather. Christy had held her grandfather in high regard, considering him one of her greatest role models, and his passing deeply affected her. Sadly, further losses followed, as her mother also passed away merely 2 months after her grandfather's demise. Over the subsequent 4 years, Christy's mental health deteriorated progressively, and she underwent a profound transformation. Her own family and friends found it increasingly challenging to recognize the person she had become, as she grappled with severe mood swings and isolation. Christy survived 3 suicide attempts and underwent treatment at multiple mental health facilities, all while taking several medications for depression and anxiety. Regrettably, these interventions seemed ineffective. Christy exacerbated her situation through excessive drinking, which clashed with her medications. Her husband, Jason, made earnest efforts to provide solace, but she often expressed that his support fell short and that he couldn't comprehend the extent of her pain from the cumulative losses. Simultaneously, Jason found it increasingly difficult to assist and connect with her. The breaking point arrived when, on his birthday, June 24, 2016, he conveyed his desire for a divorce, which appeared to be a turning point for Christy. This was especially poignant given her earlier argument with her eldest daughter, Taylor, 22, about Taylor's plans to see her fiancé, scheduled to marry in just a few days. Christy was adamant about grounding Taylor, but Jason's support for their daughter further strained their relationship. Shortly after discussing the divorce, Krista convened a family meeting. Jason assumed she wanted to gather the girls and inform them about the divorce, prepared to provide comfort and support as needed. As the family assembled in the living room, seated around the coffee table, an unexpected and terrifying turn of events occurred. Krista produced a .38 caliber revolver and directed it at Jason, accusing him of responsibility for the impending tragedy, saying, "You made me do this." In a shocking moment, she then aimed the gun at Taylor. In a desperate attempt to escape, Taylor was shot as she fled. Jason immediately shielded Taylor, instructing Madison, who was 17 years old, to run. While her mother's attention was still focused on Taylor and Jason, Madison tried to call 911. The moment she connected with someone on the line, she sprinted for the front door. Tragically, just as she reached the doorway, Krista fired a shot, and Madison collapsed. The 911 call's audio recorded the heart-wrenching sounds of Jason and the girls crying, screaming and pleading with Krista to lower the gun, not harm them and let them escape. Jason begged Krista to put the gun down, promising he would do whatever she asked, but Krista's resolve remained unyielding. She continued to fire the weapon. "Please don't point that gun at us." Jason Sheats can be heard screaming on the 911 recordings. Please don't shoot my family." Tragically, Madison succumbed to her injuries shortly after collapsing just beyond her front door. Jason, driven by desperation, struggled to lift Taylor off the floor and usher her out of the house as swiftly as possible. When they finally reached the safety of the lawn, Krista pursued them, attempting to take another shot, only to find the gun had run out of bullets. Taylor, in her distress, tried to call 911 as well, but all that could be heard were her faint cries before the call abruptly ended. Neighbours had already alerted the police, and they were just around the corner when Krista re-entered the house to retrieve more bullets. As she emerged once more, preparing to inflict further harm, the police arrived, surrounding Krista and ordering her to surrender the weapon. However, she remained uncooperative, fixing a gaze on Jason while pointing the gun directly at him. This sinister act prompted one of the officers to fatally shoot her. Taylor, though gravely injured, still clung to life and was swiftly airlifted to the nearest hospital. Sadly, she passed away from her injuries. The devastating events of that fateful night had left Jason Sheats to bear the unbearable burden of witnessing the loss of every single member of his family. Madison Sheats had been struck once in the neck, while Taylor Sheats had endured 3 harrowing gunshot wounds to the head and back. The anguish of losing everyone he held dear weighed heavily on his heart, leaving him with a profound sense of helplessness. Curiously, amidst the chaos, Jason pondered a haunting question that would linger in his thoughts for a long time. Christy, for reasons known only to her, had spared his life despite numerous opportunities to harm him. Instead, she remained unwaveringly focused on taking the lives of their daughters, and it seemed she had intentionally ensured her own demise by the hands of the police. Jason believed that her motive was to make him suffer, to make him understand the agonizing depths of her grief through the loss of those he cherished most, his daughters. In a cruel twist of fate, she had taken everyone he loved and then absolved herself from facing the consequences of her actions. Jason cooperated with the authorities in their investigations, providing crucial information about the events that had transpired. However, he steadfastly refused to speak publicly about the horrifying ordeal. Records revealed a troubling history of police visits to their home, with multiple incidents dating back to 2012, including medical calls, verbal disputes between the couple, responses from crisis intervention teams, and a 911 call where Christy Sheats had expressed a desire to speak with a deputy. Regrettably, 5 of these incidents turned out to be false alarms. Jason disclosed that the firearm used in the shooting was a .38 caliber handgun inherited from Christy's grandfather, and he mentioned her unsuccessful attempt to obtain a license to carry a handgun from the state. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Jason Sheats expressed the haunting permanence of the traumatic thoughts that plagued his mind, regardless of his attempts to escape or distract himself. "No matter what I do, where I run, no matter what I occupy my time with, I will never be able to get those thoughts out of my head," he somberly confessed. Despite the unimaginable pain, Jason credits his faith with providing the strength to carry on. His social media states that he has since remarried. A bewildered neighbor shared their disbelief, stating, "The mother was nice. You wouldn't expect it if they told you this is what was going to happen. I don't think anybody, at least a sane person, would do that." The incongruity between the perceived character of Christy Sheats and the horrifying act she committed left those in the community grappling with shock and confusion. Christy's friend, Catherine Knowles, echoed the sentiments of disbelief, telling one news outlet, "This is not the Christy that I know. It's just not. I thought it was the wrong person. It had to be." The stark contrast between the person they thought they knew and the tragic reality of her actions underscored the profound and unsettling nature of the events that unfolded. As the chilling details of this tragic tale unfolded, we are left with a haunting sense of sorrow and disbelief. The shadows of despair loom large over the shattered remnants of a once promising family. The depths of the mother's mental anguish, a silent storm that went unnoticed until it unleashed its devastation, leave us grappling with the fragility of the human mind. In the aftermath of unspeakable horror, the echoes of lost innocence and broken lives linger in the air, a grim reminder of the profound impact that mental health struggles can have on those we hold most dear. As we reflect on the unsettling conclusion to this heart-wrenching story, we are compelled to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the darkest demons reside within the confines of our own minds. Our thoughts go out to Jason and the friends and families. It is our hope to share the beautiful memory of Taylor and Madison,